I accept uncertainty. I impact the world. I live my passions. I create. I am an entrepreneur. Me. Welcome to the Stitched for Success podcast, where we are teaching business and life lessons that will help you launch, grow, or scale your creative business. I am Monica Allen, and I'm a wife, mom, daughter, entrepreneur, author, friend, lifelong learner, and host of this podcast. For over 8 years, I was stuck in corporate and dreamt of escaping. Creating a side hustle with just $700 and having taken the leap over 15 years ago, we have since grown multiple six-figure and seven-figure brands. Being an entrepreneur for over 18 years has afforded me many successes and a few failures. I want to share those with you so you can grow and be successful in your business. I often say that being an entrepreneur can be lonely, but it can also be thrilling, exhausting, exhilarating, and yet downright draining at the same time. I'm blessed to have a partner in my husband, Ethan, so it's not extremely lonely for us, but sometimes we just want to enjoy hanging out together, Netflix and chill, and not always talk about business. Each week, I try to think about tips and things that I can talk about that would be helpful to you as an aspiring entrepreneur or a small, early stage business owner. But I also just want to share with you more about myself, more about my business, and more about what I'm dealing with from day to day or from week to week. So just to bring you back or to bring you up to speed, back in 2018, 2019, we had 4 to 5 part-time and full-time team members leave. Rather than replacing them, Ethan and I decided to roll back into more of the day-to-day roles to reduce debt and really study the best ways to streamline our business. We felt that if we could work in it again every day, we would find ways to cut expenses. We would also find ways to streamline processes, and that would ultimately help our business over time. Over the years, our main business had accumulated debt when we didn't stick with our core competency or tried to keep team members employed full-time when business was really slow. So we decided that in order to have our business be better in the long term, we would work to pay down debt and really get our training systems up to speed. So running very lean already, when COVID hit, we were in a decent position to hold on to our current team. We all had to take some pay cuts until we were able to apply for PPP or the PPP loan. So thankfully, our team is still intact. As we begin to recover from last year, we're starting to get a bit more busy. Ethan and I both have other things going on that really light us up. He has founded Six Pack Dads, a program helping dads get in shape and live a healthier lifestyle. I am really enjoying this podcast and creating content that I hope is helpful to you and resonate with what you're doing as an aspiring entrepreneur or early stage business owner. However, Ethan and I also have many business goals that we've established with our business coach for this company, for Zeus's Closet, over the next 3 years. Not to mention our other companies that we have going on as well. So, that being said, the past few months have been very challenging. We're wearing a lot of hats, and we're back in the day-to-day of our main business. And all of these items are fun to some degree for me, fun but challenging. And it has been exhausting as a wife, mom, business owner. And honestly, I think just from the lack of oxygen due to wearing a mask whenever I leave my house. I realize that we've got to make some changes, and we've got to make these changes really soon. We cannot keep burning our candles at both ends. With all of that being said, we now need to start rehiring. And hiring is such a process. It's actually a process that I really don't look forward to. I enjoy meeting the people. I enjoy looking at the resumes, but it is a process, and to do it well takes time. You want to make a smart decision, and I've learned over the years that just because you like someone and their answers to questions sound good, that does not make for a good employee. I really do just about like everyone. So I've had to learn to become more discerning. And like I said in the past, I have to follow my gut or my intuition. So over the next few months, we'll be hiring for at least 3 positions in our company. And I want to make sure that I do it in a very smart way, making sure that I have my payroll allocated already for each one of those people, and we don't end up back in a similar situation of having lots of people on payroll when things get slow, because we are still a seasonal business, as most businesses are seasonal businesses. And as I'm beginning to work through the fact that I'm having to rehire, I'm posting jobs, that type of thing, it's gotten me to thinking about the hiring process. And I wanted to leave you all with just a few tips when you do start hiring, if you haven't already. But these are just some things that I've learned over 18 years. Because initially we had a process that included accepting resumes via email, sorting through them, calling people in for interviews, and having them do a series of different interviews, sometimes with team members, and then taking some attention to detail like testing. But a few years ago, I found a service called Hireology, and there's many services like this now, because working through emails and looking through resumes, that was a lot. But Hireology has really helped me with recruiting and keeping up with the available positions I've posted. The applicants with those positions, their resumes, and their interview details are kept well organized. And that really helps me keep every step in line for each thing that I need to do with each candidate to make sure that I am comparing apples to apples and not apples to oranges. It also gives me email templates and surveys and assessments. So it's very helpful in making sure that we're able to keep things in a streamlined process. Now, this is helpful to keep me organized, or to keep us all organized here in the company. But what I've learned too is do not skip any steps. Whatever your process is and whatever process you've adopted, do not skip a step. Even if someone seems great on paper and you're like, this is the perfect candidate, I can just tell. Follow your process. Follow your steps. Do your interviews. Do your references. Whatever your steps are that you've established in your hiring process, follow those steps. I've learned this the hard way, because there's been occasions in the past where I didn't follow this process, or I didn't follow our process, and it always led to it being the wrong person. Either the wrong person or the wrong person in the wrong seat on the bus. And then I also want to reiterate again, number 3, go with your intuition. If something inside of you is just telling you that it looks great on paper, all of the answers for the questions were great, but your intuition is just telling you it's not the right fit, go with that. You know your company, you know your core values, you know internally whether that person will fit with that or not. Also, I want to say, having the person who is interviewing with you, making sure that they know and understand your core values, because they may know already that being on time to work is not a strong suit of theirs. And if that is a core value and a requirement of a position with your company, then they should know that, because they may decide to go ahead and X themselves out, and that will save you a lot of time, heartache, pain, money, training, all of that. So keep those things in mind as you hire or as you begin to hire. And then lastly, you may think to yourself, well, when do I know is the right time to hire? Well, I know right now that this is the right time for Ethan and I to hire the 3 people we need, because we are all stretched really thin. Now, we're being cautious because we understand that this pandemic is not over, but we know that we've got to relieve some of the pressure on not only us, but the rest of our team. We're all doing a lot, and we're all stretched really thin. Now, the thing about being a small business owner is you do wear a lot of hats. You're going to be part HR, operations, production, customer service, training. You're going to do a lot of things, accounting, bookkeeping, and you will also need to look at hiring companies or professional services for those types of things as well. And you want to have a process for hiring those type of companies or individuals also. We'll get into more of that in a future episode, but I wanted to talk to you all about that because this is a really pressing issue right now in our company, and I will be sure to share with you more about it as I move through the process over the next few months. I began hosting this podcast almost a year ago. It'll be a year in 2 weeks. So over the next 2 weeks, I will not be posting an episode, but I will be back on April 22nd with episode 50. I'm so excited to bring you that episode, and I'm so excited too because over this next 2 weeks, I will be working and planning for the next year of this podcast. I already have some great interviews lined up with early stage entrepreneurs, side hustlers who have taken their side hustle to a main hustle, and entrepreneurs who have been in the game for many years. So I hope you join me on April 22nd for episode 50. And I hope that this podcast has been helpful to you, providing you with information to help you grow, scale, launch your business wherever you are right now, whichever position you're in. I hope that this podcast has provided you with information and insight that you can use for your business. I really do thank you so much for joining me on this episode. I'm grateful that you took the time to listen. Let's continue our conversation on Instagram. What things are you dealing with right now in your business? What's holding you back? What's stretching you thin? What's happening? My Instagram handle is @stitchforsuccess. You can also email me at stitchforsuccess@gmail.com. And there's also the Stitch for Success Facebook group. Please reach out in any way. Would love to hear from you. If you have not already, please go to Apple and rate and review the podcast. And now the podcast is available on Amazon as well as Pandora, Spotify, and Stitcher. So listen on any of those platforms. Also, if you know of anyone that can benefit from listening to the podcast, please tell them about Stitch for Success. Take care and have a great one. See you in a couple of weeks.